So I'm officially feeling pretty lost and unsure of myself in life. And, I'm really falling into the stereotype of when you graduate from university or college or whatever after many years of education, and then you're in this weird transition phase where you don't really have a job yet that is anything to do with your degree. You're questioning your degree in the past like 3, 4 years or more. There does not seem to be much life direction. That's where I'm at, and if you clicked on this video, I assume that you're maybe in a similar position, and I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it. I just want us to have an open conversation about this specific time in our lives that I feel like a lot of people don't really bother to talk about, or it's not something that the media really showcases or talks about or hypes up compared to going to university. They don't really hype up the after, and it's especially difficult when after your university degree you don't immediately go into a job or into a co-op or some sort to do with your degree, and you're just somewhere else entirely that your university never really prepared you for or talked about. So that's what we're doing today. So, to put things a bit more in context, since I'm a stranger and you don't know me, I hope, because I don't want anyone I know actually watching this. If so, hi. Do you have to watch this? So, I actually was the last year to graduate before COVID hit. Very, very lucky about that. Me feeling extremely awkward when like anyone passes by, which is a lot right now. Okay, we moved slightly because I was overly conscious of the fact that people can see me filming this and talking to myself. But anyways, for context, I was the last year to graduate normally before COVID hit, and right after I went straight into community college, which I'm Canadian, so there's university and then there's college, which is kind of like a lesser form of university. It's more to do with trades and stuff like that. But I did a year of college, and then I pretty much took a gap year because COVID happened, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing full time school during that shit. Instead, I had my drug era, if you will. And then I went back to university, but I moved across the country to go to a different university, and I did university for 3 more years. And my degree was, it was pretty much just a general arts degree. It was interdisciplinary studies in arts, which to me essentially just meant that I could take whatever fucking electives I wanted and get a degree out of it. I, I love to find a loophole, and I only had to do it within 3 years full time. Now, with this degree, there's not exactly a specific type of job or career that you go straight into. It's not like learning how to become a doctor, obviously. And it's a little bit different than a general arts degree. I pretty much, going into university, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I did do a creative writing certificate on top of that. And then yeah, I didn't know what I was doing in university for the entire 3 years, and essentially just took um, whatever the fuck was available. Like, I'm talking like geography to like Celtic studies to like Portuguese film studies. Like, fucking just all over the place. There is no really direction with my schooling. It was kind of just to get the degree, experience learning, because I love to learn, and then get out and graduate, which is essentially what I did. And I knew the choice of doing an arts degree that was so general and not specified in any way or specialized is that I would have no really career prospects. And, that is actually a big privilege to go through university not having something in mind. I'm like very aware of that, like not everyone can just throw their money into something that they know isn't really going to get them anywhere. But alas, I have a degree. And during university, I had, some ideas about maybe the sort of career that I would want to get into, something to do maybe with communications or working for a nonprofit or just working towards a common goal for like, I don't know, something or doing something artistic. But yeah, I think I've always known that have always been very much an entrepreneurial kind of person. In like recent years, I've started selling tarot readings at markets and stuff like that, and that is one passion of mine that I know that I really would like to pursue, but I know realistically as of right now, it can't be my career. I've taken those like career tests that they made you take in high school, or maybe you just came across randomly, where essentially you answer about questions that are kind of to do with your personality and things that you enjoy doing, and then it tells you what sort of jobs you might fit well into. And mine have always been teacher and therapist. And while I kind of agree with those things, I think I have the kind of nurturing presence that is needed for those two types of roles. Those have never appealed to me because of the system that those jobs and roles fall into. What I've learned growing up in the public school system and knowing a bunch of people that are becoming teachers or going through it is that if you're going to be a teacher, that means that you're essentially going to be not paid well for your work because they work really hard. And honestly, it's just a very overwhelming environment to be in, and there's a lot of responsibility put onto you, etc. And also, like, children fucking exhaust me. Love them, but I would probably have to deal with high school students, you know? And then therapist, that also falls into the role of, well, you have to get a psychology degree. You have to, like, get your PhD or whatever just to become a therapist. You have to put all this time and money and energy into this. And it might not even be what you're looking for. It might not even be fulfilling to you. And while I so love to help people and talk through things with people, the actual like job that's within the structure so does not appeal to me because it means taking off the box for all these other things and also following under the laws of certain things. And I don't even know if I would want to be a therapist because again, there is a lot of responsibility to that, but also I would feel wrong charging people so much for my work, and that's just kind of like therapy is expensive. Um, so those are some things that the reasons like I didn't go down those roads when I probably could have or should have. But I always, anytime someone gives me like an option or like an idea of like what I could do, I'm like, yeah, I think I could be good at that. But do I want to live within the system that it is currently? No, not really. I'd rather kind of create my own system, become a teacher in a more entrepreneurial way for something more specific or something more community based or volunteer led, or be a life coach or something that's kind of like a therapist but does not have all the degrees to show it. And yeah, like honestly, if I could choose my profession and purpose of life, it would be to just be the person that people confide in and tell me their troubles, and me to just gently support them into whatever they're going through or what they're trying to work towards. That's what I love doing through tarot. Through the art of tarot is I connect with strangers. I unfold their life with them. I talk about it. I dissect it. I tell them advice through the cards and guidance that the cards have to share. And I really, really like it. It's super fulfilling. So that's why I want to pursue it. But it's going to take so much more hard work doing something the alternate route than society has. Doing a job that doesn't exist yet or only exists within entrepreneurialism. That's the only way that I'm going to be able to do that. And luckily, the internet exists, and so many small businesses are flourishing because of this, and making money off of even just like YouTube videos through like monetization, and that's always been super appealing to me. I was making like YouTube videos since I was like 11 years old when I was trying to do like how to draw My Little Ponies. That has since been taken down. I also did, I would read books for people, like an audio thing. I also don't know how those haven't been copyrighted, but they're still up on my other channel. I've done all sorts of things to post on YouTube, whether I posted those things or not. And now I'm in a time of my life where I've realized this is actually something I genuinely really want to do. I want to self express myself online in ways that I don't really get to with people in my life. And yeah, I really want to connect with people I don't know, become friends with strangers online. I know that sounds weird. And just like literally just like creating a community where we can fucking be ourselves, talk about stuff that's not often talked about, and just like have a conversation, have a community. That's what I truly want. And I have been attempting to do that for, yeah, over a year now, so not really that long. The algorithm is a bitch and very hard to do, and I'm so many of my interests are, I just have interests all over the place. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. So not only am I doing tarot readings on my channel, but I'm doing more educational videos like on asexuality. I'm doing stuff like this. I'm doing astrology videos. Like, I know that in order to have the algorithm work with you, you need to be posting consistently, say like once a week, and you need to be posting the same sort of content. That is what's pushed for, that's what's supported, that's what gets you a lot of views fast. And I have actively chosen not to do that because I don't want to burn myself out before I have even gotten started and before I've even grown a following. And so right now, I'm just kind of posting shit knowing no one's gonna see it. I'm really doing it for myself and just hoping that it will find the few people that it's going to connect to the most and resonate with the most, such as yourself, I hope. And it will grow from there and that will be enough. And I think this is going to be a much slower process than it would be if I were to follow the rules of the algorithm and try to figure it out. But that is just how I'm going to have to do it. And I am always so used to taking the alternative route, the longer route, the route that doesn't really make much sense. That's just kind of how I've always led my life, not even intentionally. It just kind of happens that way. And so it does make things a lot more complex. And it does require a lot more patience and perseverance for sure. I'm honestly striving for what I'm striving for on YouTube is essentially kind of bringing back old YouTube where people would just post random videos about anything, like random skits and stuff. I think about Smosh, I think about the old Dan and Phil and that kind of thing. I think that's kind of what I'm seeing YouTube bringing back within some of the content that I watch. And that's what I also want to bring back is just these weird chatty videos that don't seem to have much purpose, but other than to connect with another human, to hear your thoughts be said aloud by another person, I think that's like such a cool and magical experience when you resonate so much with like a literal stranger online. So cool, what the fuck. But talking about stuff that's quite intimate so openly on the online does have its setbacks and does have its concerns, and it's extremely vulnerable thing to do. So I really appreciate when I see other creators do that, and I want to do it too. Like, I want to not give a shit that if some random person from high school sees this and judges me for it, to not care, to just whatever, it is what it is. Whoever finds this is meant to find this, and I really do believe that. So thank you for being here. I hope you stick around. I hope you can have some fun chats together. Yeah, it takes a lot to post this kind of thing online without fearing backlash from it or judgment or people just not caring or giving a shit. Like, that's okay. That's something to overcome and get used to. And another thing that I'm really like coming to terms with is that showing my face online, that alone is such a vulnerable thing because, like, most videos that you see online, people purposely makes themselves look their best to have their makeup on or like a cute outfit on. Usually the videos that go viral are people that are more like aesthetically attractive, which makes sense. And I honestly have had like bouts of doubt of like, is the reason that I'm not getting any views or much out of posting because like I'm not attractive enough, or that like my I mean, I know that also my video aesthetic is not that strong and kind of all over the place, and then I'm not super consistent in my videos, so there's that. But then I'm like, am I just not good looking enough for YouTube? And that's like a hard fucking pill to swallow, whether that is like the truth or not. And I'm aware that I'm not the most attractive person, but I'm also not like, ugly. I think very few people are genuinely like ugly. I think only ugly people that exist are those who are like truly fucking god awful, like inside. But I really purposely don't put much effort into dressing up for videos or putting on makeup. Of course, I do care about it, and that's, sometimes I'll be like, I just washed my hair today, and I was like, great, perfect time to take a video so people don't have to see my greasy ass hair. But yeah, it's very much something that I think about and that I try to perform and make myself look as appealing as possible. But also early on to this, I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna be able to do this consistently if I'm constantly worried about how I look, if I'm looking my best, if I look kind of gross, if I look unappealing. I'm not gonna post consistently if I'm worrying about that all the time. So I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna give a fuck if I don't look the best that video, whatever, you know? And because I'm not getting any views really at all, I can't really tell if it makes a difference or not. So on view counts and like engagement and stuff, but sometimes I wonder if I were to like doll myself up so fucking hard, look my prettiest, would I then like get a following? I don't know, but it's kind of freaky to think about. Also, another big thing that I've realized of creating content and posting it online is that there is such like a hard boundary to cross, or like a hard wall to cross of technology. If you are not the most technologically inclined, or technology hates you kind of like it hates me, then it is so much harder to create a sustainable platform to make it have views. Like having the good quality shit, you have to have good sound, you know? You have to have okay video, a good background if you really want to blow up, if you want to be seen. And that is also such a fucking hard truth to swallow. But yeah, like I don't know, I feel like it's not talked about with creators at all, even when they talk about like, oh, this is, how I got monetized. This is my journey to like, actually making money off of YouTube or whatever. They don't talk about like the struggles of figuring out how to editing software, of having enough storage space on your phone, because I think a lot of people are using their phones as the way of filming. Not everyone is using like a camera or a fancy camera or anything like that, or fancy lighting. It's really what they have and making the most out of that. I feel like I do not see enough creators or videos talking about that and how much of a fucking difficulty it is, especially when you're getting started and you don't know what to do, you don't know how much money to invest in things, you might not have any money at all. And so making money on YouTube is almost like a little bit classist in a way, like not necessarily, because you can, a lot of people have obtained a following with very low quality, but I think just as YouTube is evolving, that's what I've noticed, is that you need to have some good quality in order to be even noticed, because there's so many people trying to achieve monetization on here and creating a career out of this, out of whatever they're passionate about, and that's so fucking awesome. But also it makes it so much harder to put yourself out there and to actually be seen. So it's really like what, a double-edged sword. Like it's like there's different sides to it. Anyways, I don't really know how we got to talking about all of that. Starting with like, oh, I'm in my typical like weird transition phase of like, what am I doing with my life after university? But yeah, that's just how it's gonna be. You know, Another thing to mention is that I'm also in a time of my life where I'm living back home with one of my parents. Right now, I'm living with her in a place that I have lived a lot of my middle school, high school, childhood within. And this is, when I was living in another city, living with a bunch of roommates and stuff, and then going back to that. So there's that. Yeah, I'm living back with my parents, and I'm like almost, I'll be 25 in a year, That's just how it be, with the housing crisis, So there's that. I'm working a couple part-time jobs that have absolutely nothing to do with my degree whatsoever, which I was not expecting. I'm just in retail. Never done a retail job in my life. I've always done food service, so it's interesting. And then I'm like just like a maintenance person for a building as my second job, which is like I'm working for my dad for one of those. So like nepo baby. So there's that. And then I'm also single as fuck and don't have a partner. Yeah, never been in love in a relationship. There's that. Thought that would have happened by now, but no. 24 is not that old. So yeah, I'm single. I'm just working part-time jobs that, to be honest, are not very fulfilling at all. Living with my mom, I'm just really living the stereotype of person after college who has an arts degree and doesn't know what they're doing. And when I realized that, it was like kind of funny and also kind of disheartening at the same time. And I just kind of wanted to share my experience to the online world, just because I like know for a fact so many people my age, older and younger, are going to relate to this and are going through this very thing right now. But yeah, I'm in a very specific transitionary state in life and just trying to make the most of it, honestly. It's not a bad place to be, but it's also not the most exciting place to be either. When you don't know where your passions lie or you don't know how to achieve them and you're just trying to figure out what the fuck is the next step? What is it that I want to do? Because I still don't know. If I were to have a real ass job, I still don't really know what that would be. So we're just going to be moving towards entrepreneurialism on the side because that's something I do know that I want to be part of. And I've always thought, hey, I kind of want to try out what is it like to have a government job? What is it like to have an office job? Maybe I wouldn't hate it, maybe it would be good. And I'm still open to trying that, temporarily maybe. Maybe it will work out. Maybe there's just jobs out there that I don't know exist that would suit me perfectly. Part of me just like wants to go tree plant or wants to work in a field where I'm involved with nature every day, just become a farm worker. I don't know. There's like this innate feeling in me where I'm like, I want to spend my days outside learning about nature, learning the knowledge of nature, learning from people that hold a lot of wisdom and knowledge. That's what I want to do. And I was reading Anna Green Gables, one of the Anna Green Gables books, and I love those books because they are so about the simplicities of life, specifically back then, but you can relate it so much to present day where you're just meeting new funky people and characters in your life. You're just enjoying the scenery of nature. You're just living day by day. Nothing crazy happens. That's life. Ain't it beautiful? I should like do a whole video about the Anna Green Gables series and how more people should read it and just how much I fucking love it. Like yeah, kindred spirits. She knows what's up. But anyways, my phone is on battery saver mode and it's fucking bad and it's dying. It's probably at 10%, so I'm gonna have to wrap this video up. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to express that out there. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this, but please, please, if you feel called to, say hi to me in the comments. You don't have to say much. Or share your experience, share your similarities to my life experience. I don't know, I just like want to talk about really boring bullshit with strangers online, That can actually be quite interesting. Yeah, and just like see where this platform takes me, if that's anywhere at all. Because we are at a point where we're losing steam and we're not getting much out of it. No one is no one is seeing these videos, but maybe that will change. And I believe that it will. I think that my voice is meant to be expressed and heard by people. So I'm just going to continue expressing it. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and subscribe if you think that we vibe because I'm sure my future content will vibe with you more. Thank you and goodbye. Thanks for chatting.